My name is Andreas Plies. I'm the not just the CEO, but also the co-founder of AUTHADA. We are a medium-sized cybersecurity company located in Darmstadt and originally offering identification solutions for regulated markets. So our customers are from the financial industry, from the insurance industry, and so on. We have a bunch of certifications from the Federal Office for Cybersecurity and on other offices, and today I want to give you an introduction into identification and signature solutions in terms of customer experience. And today with me, my dear colleague Paolo Madella. He is from InfoCert. InfoCert is an Italian qualified trusted service provider and operates in a lot of European and worldwide countries. But we are from AUTHADA are I would call it the German headquarter. Okay, I want to start with an example. Imagine a company, a digital company offering digital solutions for their customers. It is a company which offers B2B solutions for B2B customers, and they want to improve the customer experience, but they have the problem every time they get in touch with another company, with a customer. They have, of course, digital processes within the company. So the sales contact the customer via Teams or via Zoom. They have a digital presentation. Then the tech sales send the technical documentation, the API to the customer. But when it comes to closing contracts, the digital customer journey ends. And this is, but what you see here on the right-hand side is a typical process you see in a lot of companies, at least in Germany. Maybe some of you are familiar with the process. Maybe some of you are surprised about the process. So the contract generation is always digital. But then the contract is printed. The contract is shipped by post. Then the contract is countersigned by the customer and scanned again. In a more sophisticated use case, of course, the CEO puts a photo of a signature on the PDF, and then the PDF is sent to the customer. But most of the companies do this kind of process. What do you expect? Which percentage in Germany is the number of companies using this kind or a similar process? Is it about 20% of all the companies in Germany? It's 50% or 80%? 80, 70, 95? Yeah. You're pretty close. We have it over here. We have it over here. 22% currently using digital signature solutions. That means in Germany, German companies, that means 78% use process like we have seen before on the slide. And that's a huge problem. I think we are, compared with the other countries in Europe, we are at the end. So the EU average is at 50%, France have 67%, and Great Britain 55%. But what is the problem? What is the problem here behind? The main decision points for deciding to go into a digital process are fulfilling compliance, improving the performance, and to increase the transparency of the process. But often the companies are lacking for solutions to fulfill that. And even if it comes to additional regulatory compliance topics, or when it comes to environmental, social governance, the companies have a lot of targets, a lot of requirements to fulfill, and they're lacking on solutions to fulfill these requirements. Of course, we cannot solve all the issues, all the obstacles which a company have if they want to introduce digital processes. But at least what we can do is to improve the digitalization within the companies. We try to improve that. And what we also try to improve is to close the last mile between the edge, the logical edge of your company, and your customer. as you have seen on the slides before, often documents are printed or sent via email, and this is not the solution what we expect from a digital company. So we want to show you the experience our customers have if they use electronic signatures and a digital workflow. What we have here is one of the products. We just picked this product because it is easy to understand. InfoChat has several products from the field of digital signatures and digital identification, but this product GoSign is an easy to use and easy to understand digital signature platform. This is an omni-channel platform. That means this can be used by your employees, it can be used by your customers, it can be used by your suppliers, and it can be used easily on desktop PCs, on desktop PCs, on the web, and within the app. So I'm a CEO. I use the app version since I'm often on the road, have not that many time, so I can sign electronically documents via app. The people in the office normally use the desktop version. They sit on their PCs, on their laptop, and can create and sign and can create contracts, sign contracts, and can even create workflows. Your customer uses the web version. The customer is included in the whole process. So we have to go back. A normal workflow would look like that. First, you have the document acquisition or the document composition. You create a document which have to be signed by your customer. Then you define a workflow. You define the people who should sign this document. You put your CEO in the workflow. You put maybe two people from the customer side into the workflow, and you can sign and you can send the document via this platform. And then the document the customer prove his identity on his side, and also can sign the document electronically. And after that, the document is also shared and archived using long-term archiving systems. You can see the different types of electronic signatures which are defined using the European regulation EIDAS. So you have on the left-hand side, the simple electronic signatures for the everyday use, can use by click and sign. So just send it over to the customer, he opens his email, click on the document, and everything is fine. Then you have the advanced electronic signatures, so for so-called medium risk transactions. Also depends on the liability level you would accept. Then you have the gold standard, that's on the right-hand side, the so-called electronic qualified signatures. This is comparable with the wet handwritten signatures, have in the end nearly the same regulatory effect. There are just a few use cases where the qualified electronic signature is not accepted, like in the notary. There you still have to write with your pencil. But the qualified one you can use nearly every business case. But what happens when you send the document to be signed to your customer? Of course, you know the identity of the customer, but because you have medium, maybe. But in terms of electronic signatures, at least for the advanced electronic signature and for the qualified signature, the customer have to prove his identity, and this is completely included in the platform. So the customer can either use a self-identification. You may have also did it before. You take your smartphone, make a photo, a video of your face, and then you have proven your identity. Or you go into a video call or using the German eID for the identification, and the customer obtain a qualified signature and can also sign the contract within this digital process. So what the result is that you make the customer part of the process. In a lot of use cases, the customer is outside the process. The digital processes are only existing in your company. And with this solution, you can also make the customer, at least in the process of electronic signing, part of your digitalization strategy. So, of course, this can be used for business-to-business use cases, can be used for business-consumer use case, and also, of course, within your company, by your HR department, by a department which needs approval by the colleagues. If you're a part of a multinational company with a lot of branches in different locations and you have complex approval processes, you can create them by yourself. You can include the people who have to approve a specific workflow, have to approve a specific document, put them into the workflow, and they can do all the approval processing like in Echtzeit, in lifetime. What I want to share with you is one customer story is with Enel. Enel is the largest European electricity company. They are also operating in 31 countries worldwide, and they use GoSign also to improve their own processes. There's a really large company with a lot of people working for them, and of course, it's hard to define business processes using different tools. But with this tool, you can define the processes for each department. You can define templates which have to be used depending on the requirements to be fulfilled. So you can organize the documents for shipping, you define the recipients, and then the documents are signed and approved. And what's one of the most important issues in a lot of regulated use cases is to store the documents in a secure manner, to fulfill the requirements for so-called long-time archiving. Some numbers. These are the numbers from 2021. The numbers from 2022 are even higher. So currently, we have 1.7 million users per day. So every day, at least 1.7 million users. I think in 2022, we have at least 2 million. And we had 830 million signature transactions in 2021. I think the number of 2022 is at 1.2 billion transactions. So this is used heavily on an international level, but not in Germany right now. That's why we are here. As you've seen before, the level of digitalization and the level of usage of digital transactions and digital signatures is pretty low in Germany. As we have learned, just at 22%. So there's a lot of space for improvement. Yeah, some nice slides with some nice numbers. This is a research from Forrester, also on the total economic impact of GoSign. So we have 177% of return of investment, and a lot of reduction in time, and a lot of increase of efficiency. But why should you choose GoSign and InfoSat? And this is the moment when I hand over to my dear colleague Paolo.
Yes.
Thank you.
So now we speak about the car. Now we will speak about the producer of the car. And then to give you some insight about InfoSat Group and who we are and what we are doing. So as mentioned also by Andreas, InfoSat is a qualified trust service provider under the eIDAS regulation. eIDAS is the European regulation that means electronic identity, authentication and signature. So cover all these aspects. So in a digital environment, eIDAS define the rules, the legal framework, the technical rules that have to be applied in all Europe to manage what is called the trust of the digital transaction. So to really approve, to really confirm the identity of the person involved in the digital transaction, can be person, can be company, and also the validity of the transaction. eIDAS define a list of trust service that the qualified trust service provider can make available into the market, and thanks to that, InfoSat have built also vertical solution that cover different business process in different market, and the idea is to have, following ADAS, security standard, compliance with the regulation, and of course, important stuff is the single user experience. So maybe it's not clear, so it's not who works also in the customer experience work didn't know the importance of ADAS, because without ADAS and without the definition of the legal value of a digital signature, for example, it will not be possible to implement an end-to-end onboarding process with the customer, because there was no legal basis for the digital signature of the contract. So ADAS and the framework that ADAS defines is very important for the definition and the implementation of end-to-end customer experience process fully digital. So the group, so InfoCert started in Italy, and then thanks to ADAS that define also a unique framework in all the European countries that allow a QTSP like us to work in all the Europe with the same rules that apply in each country, start a development, internal growth, but also through acquisition in different countries, so in Spain, Germany, France and UK, and AUTHADA is one of the company that is belonging to the group, and for this is our representative in the German market. So important of this slide, apart the revenue, is that we operate in 20 offices spread, and we have customers in 38 countries, and we are a B2C and B2B company. So we have 8 million of retail customers that use our solution, for example, to sign a contract, but also we have 5,000 corporate clients that rely on our solution to digitalize their business process, especially in the retail area, but also in the B. Internally, like GoSign, for example, is the perfect tool to digitalize your internal business process, internal to the company. But we have other solutions that can be used to digitalize retail B2C processes. And we will see. So we have, of course, as we are a QTSP, we have a strong focus about compliance, and we have a local approach, so to be compliance also with the local regulator in each country. So here are mentioned also the German one. So we are managing also BSI, Bundesagentur, and also BaFin when we spoke about the banking area. But we are also, of course, we have to have a look also about the global regulation, not only ADAS, but also ETSI, or the Cloud Signature Consortium with Adobe. This is the slide that summarizes, I think it's really full of words and concept. Anyhow, this is a summary of the offering of InfoCert in terms of trust service. So we can divide in the identity service, so that means identify a person, a user, and give to him, for example, a certificate to sign something. ID brokerage, that is a new trend. So when you identify someone, you don't need to identify another time, but you can somehow use this identity to identify the person in another company, for example. So you onboard for one company, this company can sell the identity to another company for the onboarding. The self-sovereign identity is another thing that we are now proposing to the market related to the digital identity wallet, but this will be covered later. Then we are speaking about identification of a person, and to give the proof about this identity, we can identify person, legal entity, but also machine, because now the new possibility is also to give to IoT device a digital identity, and we trust, with our trust, we can assure the identity of this device, as we assure the identity of a person when he signs something with our certificate. Then, apart this identity, we have also vertical solution that can manage, for example, the electronic signature workflow like GoSign that we saw before, long-term archiving, so legal preservation of digital document, where we can prove also in court that the document is not changed after 10 years or 20 years. This depends on the legal obligation of different market segments, like banks have to store contract for 10 years, maybe the invoice have to be stored for other quantity of time. We have a solution that is called registered delivery that substitute the sending via post, the registered post, via with a digital delivery of SMS or email. And we have digital onboarding solution. This is for the B2C, so that combine the identification of the customer with the issuing of the certificate and then the signature of the contract, all integrated in the business process and the user experience of the company. So in this case, the customer don't have to move outside, but everything, all the flow can be really integrated into the user experience of our client company. Then electronic invoicing is another solution that we cover to manage the case in which, in the country in which the electronic invoicing is mandatory and applied. So speaking about customer experience, only to give you an example of the usage of another our solution, that is the onboarding platform that, as I mentioned, allow to implement identification, issuing of a certificate in digital subscription of document. In this case, applying top the changes that we can introduce have also an impact on the sustainability of the process. This is was certified by the certification authority body, CSQA, that's analyzing the process of our customer. In this case was a big banking customer, from the paper-based solution to a digital process in which the onboarding was done digitally and remotely, and the contract was signed digitally. There was a save in CO2 of 86%, and this was certified by this certification authority body. The solution top, that is the B2C, is really B2C, because GoSign is more for B2B when you have some workflow that are not standard. Top is more for big retail, for banking, for telco, some big organization that have a standard signing workflow with their customer, their retail customer. So there is no need for a personalization of the approval workflow. The contracts are quite standard, and is also important to introduce in the flow the identification of the customer, the providing of the needed type of electronic signature to the customer in order to sign and conclude the transaction. Of course, there are rules, like in Germany, that for which is mandatory for some type of contract. For example, in the banking sector, for consumer loans, is mandatory the usage of a qualified certificate. So the law describes which kind of signature, the legal value of the signature, is needed for this kind of contract. In this case, our solution allows to define issue the type of signature that is needed for the specific process. So coming to what is coming next, we spoke about ADAS and the past, what will be the next step in ADAS. I don't know if you know that ADAS 2, so a new version of ADAS is coming, will be probably approved at the end of this year. And one of the main news of ADAS 2 is the introduction of what is called the European Union Digital Identity Wallet. This, in our opinion, will have a big impact on the customer experience, because the purpose of this wallet, as was defined by the European Commission, was first to give a tool to each citizen in Europe. So each country in Europe should provide to each citizen this electronic wallet. that contain is the identity data of the person. And with this digital wallet, the customer can, for example, access public website or private website. This was done in order to destroy now the monopoly of LinkedIn, Google, or what else, where you now register with this provider, US provider. Of course, there is a problem of data privacy because these information are sent to US and used for some purpose. In this way, the European Commission want to give a tool that will be European use based and the data about where you are going with this identity will not be used for commercial aspect. Then this European wallet will not contain only identity data, but can contain also additional information like you say here, your diploma, your driving license, the insurance that you have in you have currently. And these attributes that are into the wallet can be shared by the owner of the wallet to someone. So, for example, if you go to in the future, the idea is you go to an hotel with your wallet, the hotel will be connected with your wallet and will ask you, do you want to share with me your identity data? And you, in your wallet, authorize the sharing of this data to the hotel that can onboard you and check in you without any changes. So important thing is that the owner of the wallet will be in full control of the data. So the owner of the wallet should choose which data and to who want to share this data. InfoCert is already participating to many European Union research program related to the European wallet in order to find and to build a use case for the European Union digital wallet. But before that, InfoCert already implement their own digital wallet that is called DITSME, also 2 years ago, that is based on blockchain and sovereign identity, that implement the same mechanism of the digital wallet at European level, but with the idea of a business model behind, so that there will be someone that create the data, someone that will use the data, the owner in the middle that decide if to share or not the data, but who use the data should pay something to who produce the data. So creating an ecosystem that in this way can be really useful and can survive. So saying that, the conclusion will be that in our opinion, so InfoCert should be a really reliable partner for local company, but also for international company or multinational company. And thanks to our experience at QTSP and our experience and participation to this European research program, we will be also the correct partner for the future, because all this activity, all this research will be introduced in our tool and will be an evolution of our solution. So thank you from me, Andreas.
Thank you.
Then,